Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for the Daily GizWiz is provided by Winamp. Subscribe to the Daily GizWiz and all your favorite podcasts with the ultimate media player. Download it for free at winamp.com. Video bandwidth for the Daily GizWiz is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. It's time for the Daily GizWiz with Mad's maddest writer, Dick DeBartolo. This is episode 1217 for Tuesday, November 9th, 2010, the Apple MacBook Air. And now, get ready for Dick.
Hey, Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer, and the Giz Wiz. Yes, it's Tuesday, the day of the week you normally dread, but today it's going to be different. It's going to be a good gadget on Turn the Table Tuesday.
Turn the tables to... How are you? Dickie D, good to see you.
No, I'm not in Hawaii. I'm in New York City.
I always thought that's what Arthur Godfrey was saying. Hawaii.
Yeah,
He was saying
he
Hawaii.
probably got $50 every time he said
Well,
that.
he liked Hawaii. You know, he wore the Hawaiian shirts. He played the ukulele. I mean, he was a Hawaiian guy, so maybe he was saying Hawaii. Anyway,
I am good, sir, and you?
I am well because today I am so excited. This is a transformational product. It flips open, it's compact, it's small, it's portable. It's the kind of thing you're going to want to carry with you everywhere. Once you see one, you're just going to really want to have one. It's really amazing. It's brand new, just came out from Motorola. Look at that. Flips right open.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not a
antenna.
phone.
The antenna comes out. Yeah, it's the new Motorola StarTAC phone. How do you like that? And look, it only weighs about 1.5 pounds.
Oh, you could make calls on that?
You can make anywhere you want. Battery life, it goes 3 days as long as you don't make a call.
Wow.
Look, they've got buttons to do everything you could want. All the phone numbers, 1 through 0, are on here, as well as pound and asterisk. It's got a send button that you press that when you want to make the call, an end button when you want to hang up the call, or, and you're going to love this, just flip it closed, and the call is over.
Unbelievable.
Now how much would you
can
pay?
quit the gym because lugging that around is all the exercise you'll ever need.
Wait a minute. There's more. Look, you can store numbers in here, up to 4 numbers, and recall them at will.
4 numbers? I don't know that many people.
Actually, I got to thank Alex for bringing this in. His Halloween costume. You know what his Halloween? Come over here, Alex.
No. Is he going as a phone booth?
You take a look. You tell me who he is, especially when he holds this StarTAC phone in his hand. Ring any bells here?
Oh, yeah, yes, but I can't put...
Gordon Gekko of Wall Street fame.
Oh, yes.
Remember that movie?
That's great.
Yes. Isn't he good? Doesn't he look the part?
That is really excellent.
He's got the hair slicked back, the suspenders, and he's got the big 80s phone.
It's great. And he's, look at that. Look at it. He's emoting. He's
Greed
amazing.
is good. Greed is good. And it's got the big extended battery on the back, so it really does look pretty clunky. All right, Gordon, thank you. That's Alex.
Wow. Alex, wow. Method acting, too. Alex,
I know.
that was really
good,
great.
wasn't it? He almost believed
I've got
that.
a little tear in my eye. It's sort of like I felt his pain.
But in fact, that's not my gadget. My gadget does fold and open and close. It is very lightweight. It's actually about the same weight as that phone, only it's a whole laptop computer that you can hold in the palm of your hand. You've seen all the ads for it. They're running ads for it like crazy. This is the new MacBook Air. Look at that. Now this is
you know, when you turn that totally sideways, it does disappear.
It's look, where did it go?
It's gone.
You could cut cold cuts with this.
The bagel. Yeah,
it's like a bagel slicer.
Maker.
If you ever need, you know, Apple's so smart because if you look at it carefully, it's a wedge, so it's thicker in the back than in the front. But when you have it edge on, so it's deceptive. It looks like it's much thinner.
Oh, that's really you know what? That's very interesting.
It's clever.
Very interesting. Yeah.
So it weighs just a little bit under 3 pounds. This is the $9.99 version, which is the 11-inch screen plus a 64 gig internal solid state hard drive. This is there's no optical drives, no DVD or CD, but there's also no spinning drives. There's no hard drives in here. It's all solid state. And actually,
so you could just throw that around and nothing would happen to it.
Well, you might break the screen, but yes, the rest of it. And by the way, this is unlike the original MacBook Air, a unibody construction like the MacBooks and the MacBook Pros. So it feels nice and rigid because it's one, carved out of one chunk of aluminum.
Right.
I think they've done a very nice job with design, as you would expect from Apple. But here's the thing that kind of surprised me. I mean, look, it's a little, you compare it to your Acer timeline that you were showing us the last couple of weeks ago, right? And it's certainly more expensive than that. It's about $999 to start. I got a 4 gig RAM upgrade, and that was $100. But I did not get the processor upgrade or the bigger hard drive because, nowadays with everybody doing all their computing in the cloud, I don't know if you need a 500 gig hard drive. I have a regular MacBook, a bigger laptop.
I bought 3 extra clouds.
Yeah. Just get some more, stock up on clouds, and you don't need the hard drive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? As you're flipping it around, does it just have one single USB port?
It has 2, which is one more than the old one did. So I'll talk about the ports here real quickly. The MagSafe adapter comes with a 45-watt adapter. You get about 5 hours of battery life on the... And by the way, that's about what I'm getting on the 11-inch. The 13-inch, they do have a bigger screen version with more storage. It gets 7 hours because it's got bigger battery. There's one USB port on the left, one on the right. That's the headphone port. There's a little microphone on there for Skype, so there is a built-in microphone. On the other side, the other USB port and the mini display port. So you can connect this up to VGA or DVI with the optional mini display port adapter. But it's very simple. I mean, really, this is, there's no Ethernet port. You'd have to buy a USB Ethernet adapter if you wanted to use Ethernet, but it's got Wi-Fi. And it's really clearly designed around the way people compute most of the time, which is, I don't know, I don't use DVDs or CDs anymore, or very rarely. Most of the time I install stuff from the cloud, from the internet, not from a DVD. I don't really use Ethernet anymore. I'm always on Wi-Fi, and that's fine. So they've stripped this down. It's really a stripped down system. Now it's got I have to say, a very nice screen. This is an LED backlit, not an IPS like the new iPads and the new MacBooks, but still, I think a pretty good LED backlit screen. It's glossy only. That's the only kind you can get. They don't have a matte screen. Apple's really pretty much eliminated the matte screens. The screen resolution, it's kind of interesting. This screen resolution is actually much higher per square inch than their other laptops. In fact, some people even say this is almost like kind of like a Retina display.
Oh, really?
Because it's such a high resolution. I don't know what the dots per inch are, but the 11-inch, let me get the tech specs up, and I can tell you the exact resolutions of both the 11.
And it has, what don't they call that, like island keyboard?
A chiclet, you mean, or?
Yeah, chiclet. Yeah,
it's an island. Well, it's integrated in. Yeah. It's very much the same keyboard as Apple uses on their other stuff, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a full-size keyboard, and even better, full-size trackpad with wrist rests, so it's very comfortable. The 13-inch MacBook Air has a SD card slot. The 11-inch doesn't. I have to say, I'm liking the 11-inch because it's so portable. I don't really feel the need for the larger screen. You might, however. So if you're looking for more screen real estate, bigger hard drive.
What's the bump in price? It'll go to 13.
Well, first of all, let me give you. I'm looking up the resolutions. The 11-inch is 1366 by 768, which means it's high enough resolution to do 720p video. And there's a 320M video card in here, so it actually does a very good job. Nice. You can play back full screen video without any hesitation. The 13-inch is 1440 by 900. Both of them have the same GeForce 320M graphics card in there, which is the same one as in the 13-inch MacBook Pro. It's a good graphics card, certainly good enough to do the most. You're not going to. It wouldn't be your first choice for video editing, mostly because it doesn't have much storage. But it does a pretty good job. So it starts at $999 for an 11-inch screen, 64 gig hard drive, 1.4 gigahertz Intel Core 2 processor. Again, not the top-of-the-line processor, but good enough. The SSD makes the 64 gig SSD flash storage really makes a difference in overall speed. It turns out the processors nowadays are more than fast enough. It's the hard drive you spend a lot of time waiting for. If you want to bump this, you can go to $11.99 and get a larger hard drive. For $100, you can get a gig more of RAM. I did that, or 2 gigs more of RAM. I put 4 gigs of RAM in there. If you want to go to the 13-inch, you have choice between a 128 gig hard drive for $12.99. The top of the line 13-inch has 256 gig hard drive, a 1.8 gigahertz Core 2 processor, 2 gigs of RAM, and otherwise it's about the same. I'll be honest with you. I think the $9.99 is just fine. I wouldn't necessarily spend a lot more money.
Yeah,
because you're not going to.
Duckman in the chat room wants to know if you can stream TWiT on it.
Absolutely. Shall I do that here? Oh, you know what? I haven't.
Oh yeah.
I have to say one thing Apple has done is they don't put Flash on it, so you'll have to install Flash before you can stream TWiT on here. But let me go full screen on TWiT, and this will be a little meta. You'll be able to see us streaming us.
Wow.
Here, I'll go to the pop-out video.
Doesn't get better than that.
Yes, it does. Gets much better than that. It's more. I'll tell you what. It's more than fast enough for what I want to do. It doesn't have a lot of storage in it, but on the other hand, I'm not going to put all my music and photos on here. It just doesn't make sense. This is for carrying around, surfing, answering email. Oh, let me turn the volume off as well so you can. But there's the full screen.
Yeah.
And I think I have to move around so you can see some.
Yeah, I see it. That's pretty nice. But wow.
I think it's very usable. I'm actually very happy.
Yeah.
In fact, even though I have other laptops, PCs and Macs, they're all much heavier. Yeah, they're more powerful. This is more than powerful enough, and I think probably this is what I will use most of the time. I'm going to France in a few weeks. I'll be taking this with me and nothing else. In some ways, it replaces the iPad. I like the iPad.
I was just going to say, how do you decide between the iPad and that?
I think very simply, if you want to create content, if you're going to do a lot of writing, or you're going to blog, or you're going to edit photos or things like that, then you definitely want the Air. If you mostly are consuming content, or you want those apps, because, I can't play a lot of the Wii Rule and the other iOS apps don't go on this. So if you want the apps that you get on the iOS platform, iPhone and iPad, then you need an iPad. If you're not going to be doing a lot of content creation, mostly content consumption, the iPad's a good choice. But this is only a little bit heavier. It doesn't have the battery life. The iPad's got 10 hours. This only has 5. I might end up bringing the iPad too, but I think this is really all I need. I'm happier than I thought I would be with this. I have had many netbooks, as you know. And this processor, the Core 2, is much faster than an Atom processor. It's got much better video card. It's got a much better screen. It's got a full-size keyboard and touchpad. And it feels like a well-made computer. And I think in fact, all the netbooks I have. And my favorite netbook is the big Samsung NC20, which does have the same size screen, almost the same size keyboard. It still feels a little plasticky and cheesy.
Yeah.
So that's what you get for paying twice as much.
That's a very slow processor, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all Atom processors.
Yeah.
Actually, that one had a VIA processor in it, which is about the same speed as the Atom. This is much faster, and the solid-state drive makes it really, I think, much speedier. I keep thinking about a case, but I don't even know if I'll put this in a case. It's so little.
Yeah, no, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and you just put it under your arm. I mean, it's just a tiny little thing. It's easy to throw around,
and
carry
don't
around.
let Henry see it.
Yeah. Henry already has seen it, and he thought it's kind of neat. But he has a MacBook. That's really what this is right up against. It's the same price as a MacBook, the white plastic one. I'm impressed. I have to say, I think Apple did this one right. I looked at the first MacBook Air and decided it was prone to overheating. It decided it was too slow. It wasn't enough for the money. It was twice as much as this. Wow. So I held off on the MacBook Air. I'm glad I got this one, though. I think this is really, really nice. That's the MacBook Air. I recommend that you get the cheapest one out there. 2 gigs of RAM is fine in this configuration. It's not supposed to be a powerhouse. 64 gigs is fine for storage. Even with 128 gigs, that's not enough to put your music and photos and movies on it anyway. So I just say 64 gigs, do stuff in the cloud, or if you need to attach an external hard drive. Save the money, get the $9.99 version. It's plenty. It's plenty. Now, interesting, there are already a company has come up with a replacement SSD drive that's faster and bigger. They haven't set a price yet, but even though you really can't upgrade the memory because it's kind of on the motherboard, you can. The hard drive, even though it's not a normal hard drive, is socketed. So you could remove it in theory. These are special screws. You'd have to get a special Torx screwdriver to remove to open it up. And you would be obviously violating your warranty. But there are some third-party upgrades for this, perhaps for a faster, bigger hard drive. I would not go crazy getting a big hard drive. Wait till that comes out. If you want 4 gigs of RAM, it's only $100. You cannot upgrade it after the fact. So if you think you're going to need more RAM, get it now. $100 is a good price for 4 gigs of RAM. I'm pretty happy with it.
Excellent.
That's my review. The MacBook Air. You have to think about how you use a laptop. It's certainly not for anybody who wants to watch DVDs or needs to install software from DVDs. I wouldn't try to run Windows on it, although there's enough room. I guess I could run Windows. To me, it is a notebook for getting work done in the cloud, answering emails, surfing, stuff like that. That's what it's going to be the most useful.
Here come the letters, the letters. Here come the GizWiz letters now. Here come the Giz. I said the GizWiz letters now. Oh.
Before I do the letter, I forgot to mention our friend Tom Johnson and mailroute.info. You mind if I just quickly throw in a plug for him?
No, do it.
This is the spam solution that I've been using since 2004. I host my own domain, leoville.com. And when you host your own domain, it's not like Gmail where you can use the anti-spam built into your webmail. You have to do it yourself. Now, some people do go out and buy an expensive box like a Barracuda box, but they don't scale well. They're pricey. You've got to maintain them. MailRoute is such a great solution for people who want spam and virus filtering inexpensively but don't want to manage it themselves. I've been using MailRoute for 6 years. I'll give you an example. I just got my stats for the last 12 months. 1 million messages, all but 30,000 spam. Those 970,000 spam messages, I did not see them on my server because I was using MailRoute. It doesn't even come to your server. It just filtered out before it gets there. Here's how it works. If you understand this, you'll understand why how to set it up. You change your MX record. If that makes no sense to you, maybe MailRoute's not for you. But if you have access to your DNS records, you can do this by changing your MX record. Literally, in seconds, spam is gone. It will be gone forever. You can save 10% on the life of your account if you go to mailroute.info right now. Yes, they do offer, by popular demand, they weren't planning on doing it, they do offer individual accounts. Prices start as low as $2 per user with a minimum of $20 a month, but they have a special price for individual accounts that is much lower than that, just for you, our TWiT listeners. And I know there's some people happy with that. Try it out before you consider other choices for your institution, your group, your company. University of Georgia uses them. They have a very good list of clients. It's mailroute.info if you want to find out more. Mailroute.info, and I thank Tom Johnson for taking a little flyer. It's a small company. He'd never advertised before. We were having lunch. He said, I want to go to the next level. I said, Tom, have you ever considered TWiT for advertising? He said, well, I don't know. And so we're giving it a try just to see. And I think he's very happy with the results so far. And I know a lot of you who are using MailRoute are very happy as well. So I got an email. Now we'll get to the email. I got an email from an old friend, science fiction author Jerry Purnell. You know Jerry? Do you know who he is?
I know who he is. I don't know him personally.
He wrote Lucifer's Hammer with Larry Niven. He wrote, what's that the other one? I just finished it, and I can't remember the name. He's just a great writer. He listens.
God's Screwdriver?
God's Screwdriver. Yeah, fascinating story. He's been on TWiT many times. He's a great guy. I grew up reading his column in Byte magazine while I was in my 20s. Moten's God's Eye. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Dr. Mon. The Moten God's Eye. But he wrote the Chaos Manor for column for Byte for many years and really was the inspiration for me to get in this business. So he's he's an idol of mine. So we were talking, and he's also a kind of a historian. We were talking about Mingo and the original Alfred E. Newman picture. And I know you know this, but he wanted to correct me. He said the What Me Worry Kid was originally Melvin Kosnowski. Did you know this?
Yeah, of course.
While Alfred E. Newman looked much more normal but secretive. Apparently, Mad decided that the Newman name fit the What Me Worry Kid, and Melvin Kosnowski was renamed Alfred E. Newman. I didn't know that. How could you not tell me that?
Well, the thing is, he had several different names. They just would make up names for different issues. And then I don't know who decided, well, let's just give him a name that would stay. Now, the story I heard was that Al Jaffe, who also loves old movies, said, you know, there's a conductor named Alfred Newman.
There is. Yes.
And if you like old movies, you will see Alfred Newman, musical conductor, hundreds of times.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, let's just put an initial in there and call it Alfred Newman.
That was your idea?
No, it was not my idea. It was because he was named before I got there. I think Jaffe, if I recall, put the E in there, and it became Alfred E. Newman. The amazing thing about Norm Mingo's original Alfred was after Time Warner actually took over Mad. Time Warner owned Mad for like 35 years, but Bill ran it. But when he died, they realized that all the artwork we had on the walls of Mad was the original artwork, including Norm Mingo's original Alfred E. Newman portrait, which they auctioned off. And at the time, it sold for the largest amount of money for comic art. I think it was like $120,000.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Who bought it? Do you know?
I don't. I didn't. Did you? I think Henry. I think Henry.
My son's a big fan. Jerry goes on to write, I encountered Mad at a newsstand at a Greyhound bus station in some small city in Montana or maybe Dakota. I was on the way to Colfax, Washington, where my folks live, and I decided I didn't want to take a book to read other than Cooley's Formal Logic. That's Jerry for you, which I wanted to get through and understand. Ha! He's going to say, I could tell you that a long Greyhound bus trip is not the place to learn Cooley's Formal Logic. I was desperate by the time we got to that bus stop and newsstand, had little of interest, but there was something that said, Tales calculated to drive you mad.
Mad, yes.
He says it was still a comic book on pulp paper and stayed that way for a couple more years. Jerry's in his 70s, so he was an original Mad reader.
Yeah.
The issue I got had Teddy and the Pirates, I think. Others had The Hound of the Basketballs and Smiling Melvin and parodies of other old comics that you've probably never heard of. I forgot which issue I found in that bus station. Maybe it was around number 3, and the magazine was probably a quarter. I bought every issue after I encountered it.
Wow.
Jerry?
Yeah, it started out, the first 23 issues were 10 cents because Mad was a comic book, and it only satirized the comics.
And it said 10 cents cheap.
Cheap, 10 cents cheap. Humor in a jugular vein was written down the side of the book. And then as they were getting into the end of year 2, they said, well, we're running out of comics. What are we going to do now? And then they said, well, let's satirize everything, and it won't be a comic anymore. It'll be a magazine. So it went from 10 cents, to 25 cents.
Wow. When I started buying it, it was 35 cents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it, $5 now, something like that?
Yes, $4.99.
Wow. Well,
it
thank
still
you,
says
Jerry.
cheap.
It's a lie.
The first time the price goes up, they leave cheap off for the first time because it ain't cheap.
And then
but
you
then
get used to
get
it.
over the shock, they put it back
in. Isn't that funny? Well, thank you, Jerry, for sharing your Mad memories with us. We love hearing those. In fact, I'd love to get more email from people who remember the first time they bought Mad. I remember, I think I told you this. It was at a Liggett's drugstore in Providence, Rhode Island on Thayer Street. I probably was 8 or 9 years old, and I had saved my pennies. It was 35 cents by then. And I remember counting it out for the druggist a penny at a time.
Wow. Well, it's not unlike the way I got my salary when I came out there.
Yes, I think you got those pennies.
I lie. It was a dime at a time. It went fast.
I vividly remember that. Like I had, this handful of coins in my sticky little hand.
Leo. That's
never
great.
Forget that. Never forget that. All right, Dick, that's Turn the Table Tuesday. We survived. I have a lot more, by the way. People have been sending me gadgets. I have a ton of stuff I want to review over the next few weeks.
Great, okay.
All of it utter crap, so you'll be glad to know that.
I'll still be here.
I'll see you tomorrow, Dick.
DAIL. Why? It's the